What's up, guys? It's me, TXC Bands, and I'm back with another review of One Piece, chapter 1091, titled Sentomaru. From the title, it's clear that the focus of this chapter is on Sentomaru, and that would make sense because the last chapter, 1090, left off with Sentomaru and Kizaru facing each other on Egghead Island. So in this chapter, we get about a complete battle between the two of them, and then we also get some flashbacks about Sentomaru, which were much needed. And also in this chapter, Lucci betrays the Straw Hats, and his fight begins with Zoro. So yes, Lucci is like not a double agent, but like a triple agent for the world government. And by the end of the chapter, a new battle begins, which could honestly turn the tides of the One Piece series, depending on the winner. But you have to wait and see to the end of the video when I say who the fighters are. And let's begin. To start, the cover page this week is a color spread of all the Straw Hats indulging in some nice pizza. I'm sure the pizza was beautifully crafted by Sanji, the chef, and all the Straw Hats are there except Frankie and Robin, so I guess they just weren't in a pizza mood. But we'll now get into the actual chapter with the Marines, who are struggling against the Pacifistas. Most of them are using cannons to fight, but the Pacifistas' lasers are even stronger than cannons. And also, the mechanized sea beasts are wreaking havoc on the Marine ships. Like, one entire ship gets chomped in half by a sea beast. But that's what the Vice Admirals are here for. So, the Vice Admirals start fighting back against the beasts. We see the guy with a bunch of chins. He uses, like, a mechanized arm to punch a sea beast and stop him from attacking the ship. And then we also see Dal. She kicks one of the Pacifistas brutally in the face. But now, in the Labo phase, we see Usopp, Nami, Brook, and also Dr. Vegapunk. They're watching the camera of down below where all the Marines are fighting. They're watching from above. And Vegapunk explains that the Pacifistas are currently protecting the island because Sentomaru is in control of them. But at any moment, Vegapunk could take control of them with an authority chip because he's higher on the command order. Now we cut back to Sentomaru, who's fighting against Uncle Kizaru. And Kizaru sends him flying with a kick with his light powers, and after that he continues with a barrage of light beams. This attack is called Yasakani no Magatama, which is another Japanese like royal imperial regalia that's passed down from emperor to emperor. So Sentomaru, he's running away from all these light beams, and he's running to his axe. And when he gets his axe, he kind of gets his confidence back. So he rushes at Kizaru for an attack, and he swings it, but Kizaru easily dodges by phasing upwards with his light powers. But the fight gets interrupted by Sentomaru's flashback, which we actually got to see some of it in a recent SBS. As a child, Sentomaru is out in the forest, and he's beating up a bunch of wild bears, but that's when Vegapunk and Kizaru stumble upon him, and the two of them ask if they could like help out Sentomaru in any way. But Sentomaru yells at them and says he doesn't want to go back to his village, and all he wants is a job. And so Vegapunk asks what he'll do with this money from this job that he wants, and Sentomaru quickly responds with onigiri, which Kizaru finds funny at the moment. And so then after that, Vegapunk, he offers Sentomaru, who's a child at this point, a position as his bodyguard. And the rest is history. We know he becomes a bodyguard for Vegapunk. And Kizaru also helps him out with a little bit of training to become a good bodyguard. So back to the fight, Sentomaru uses Ashigara Palm, which Kizaru blocks with light. Ashigara is actually connected to the story and on which Sentomaru is based off. It's called The Legend of Kintaro, and it's about like a sumo wrestler guy in the mountains, kind of like Sentomaru. Kizaru, after blocking, shoots one huge beam of light at Sentomaru, and this finally puts Sentomaru down and defeats him. So, Kizaru grabs the authority chip from Sentomaru, and he uses it to command the pacifista. He commands them to stop attacking the Marines and to instead focus their attacks on the mechanized sea beasts. And this completely changes the situation because the Marines are much safer now. Saturn, who's with all the Marines, remarks that it's a shame that the mechanized sea beasts are now going to be destroyed by pacifistas because it was useful technology, but it's whatever because they still have the pacifistas, and I guess those are more important. So back in the Labos phase, Usopp tells everyone that Sentomaru lost his battle. Vegapunk is sad about this news, but he continues just typing away at the computer trying to find a passcode for the Frontier Dome. Then, from the ground, Kizaru flashes up onto the Labos phase because he's able to phase through the Frontier Dome with his fruit. And up there, Luffy, Bonnie, Frankie, and Lilith are traveling in the Vega Force 1, which is carrying the Thousand Sunny. And they notice that the alarm's going off, signifying that someone has gotten into the barrier. So then we go back to Kizaru, who's remembering the 3 things that he must protect on the island, which are the power station for the Mother Flame, Punk Records, so they could keep all of Vegapunk's genius after they kill him, and York, who they promise to protect. Kizaru doesn't actually want to harm Dr. Vegapunk since they are friends after all, but he recognizes that's the most important part of the plan and literally his entire mission to kill Dr. Vegapunk. Meanwhile, in the lab, Stussy notices Hattori randomly start flying. And then, in the split second, Rob Lucci goes to attack Dr. Vegapunk. Stussy, she jumps in and takes Rob Lucci's finger attack right into like her stomach. So she's probably gonna be gravely wounded by that. But then Sanji, he thinks quickly and he uses Nami's bubble gun to entrap Kaku so he doesn't get involved with Lucci, who is his comrade. And now Zoro, he jumps in to attack Lucci with 2 of his swords. And Zoro mentions that Lucci is kind of a coward for waiting for help to arrive, which is Kizaru. Because Lucci was just chilling around with the Straw Hats for a whole day, pretending to be friendly until Kizaru came in, and now he grew the balls to attack. But Zoro attacks Lucci, and they both bust out the wall, and so they're going to have a 1v1, it seems, without the interference of others. Then, Kizaru, he sees the Vega Force running away, and with the Thousand Sunny in its hand, but standing on the ground, not in the Thousand Sunny, is Luffy. Luffy says, "Long time no see," to Kizaru, since it's been since Marineford, since they last saw each other. And then he attacks Kizaru with a kick. The kick is like infused with hockey too. Luffy says that the Straw Hats have gotten 100 times stronger since the last time they met, before the 2-year time skip. But this is a reference to when Shaki told the Straw Hats that they need to get 100 times stronger to surpass Rayleigh. So Luffy is now about to test his strength with the toughest of competition, an Admiral, Kizaru. And that's all for the chapter. It was another solid chapter this week. I think that the Marines actually now have like a slight advantage now that the pacifistas have switched sides, but never underestimate the Straw Hats and Vegapunk's genius also. And Luffy fighting against Kizaru will definitely be a major contributing factor to whichever side gains an advantage, because the winner will obviously have a clear advantage. Luffy, he's probably going to have to go Gear 5th in this fight, because he might start with Gear 4th just to test it out, but eventually he'll go to Gear 5th because Kizaru's on a whole nother level. And now Lucci versus Zoro is also going to be a good fight, and because they're pretty evenly matched. Lucci has gotten stronger since Enies Lobby, and Zoro has gotten just stronger in general over the course of the whole story. But we'll have to wait to see these fights because next week is a break. But we'll be back in no time for the next chapter. So if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.